the opening remarks by the Dean, the beloved Dean of the School of Sciences and Engineering, Dr. Florencio Gaa.
Good morning to you all. I welcome you to the 5th International Research Conference organized by the IT Department of the University of Asia and the Pacific. But before I go any further, I would like to welcome especially our keynote speaker, Mr. Alan Bora, the Director of IT Services at the De La Salle University. We are honored to have you here to address the participants of the conference. We believe you will set the tone of the conference to a very high norm that we hope we can sustain until the end of the conference. I would also like to welcome the most notable personalities who have graced this conference with their presence. Mr. Rajan Tadeo, a member of Pacocoa and member of the Faculty of Graduate Studies at the World City College. Mr. Marshall Anasho, also a member of Pacocoa and at the same time IT Program Head of Central Escolar University in Makati. Director Geraldine Padua, the Director of the Institute of Computing Science in UST. Mr. Rafael Alonso Aquino, member of the Faculty of the QMIT at the Ateneo de Manila University. Dean Danny Umoso, the Dean of the College of Computer Studies at the University of Cabuyao. Mrs. Marites Fontanilla, the IT Program Head of St. Paul University, QC. Mrs. Jessica De Megilio, the Department Head of Computer Education at Xavier School. Mr. Rodel Villares, the Head of the Corporate Social Responsibility and Technical Support at Trend Micro. These honorable ladies and gentlemen will also be acting as plenary chairs for our conference today. And to all the participants of the conference, the faculty, the staff, and the students who will be presenting or listening to the presentations, a warm welcome to you all. Well, the theme of the conference, as you will have read, is contextualizing information technology through business and education. Well, I must say that this topic would not have been more timely than it is today. The very fact that we are conducting this conference online is testament to the most unusual and unprecedented situation, which requires of us new ways, new means, and new methods to be able to keep up with the needs of the times. We are in a crisis and we find ourselves in a situation as if by accident. None of us could have foreseen the present situation and what consequences it would bring. So as if by surprise, we in the education sector find ourselves groping for ways to keep up with the need to complete our course offerings. We were caught in the middle of the second semester of last academic year with a large portion of the course content needing to be delivered. Well, that's only a portion, a tiny portion of the problem, because if we step back a little, we see that the whole fabric of society is affected, not just the educational institutions, really the whole economy ground to a halt. And business, that is the business and education that we refer to in the theme of this conference, has been reduced to the business of staying alive. I say staying alive in the wider sense, because the threat not only came from the virus, but also from hunger and starvation. I was just reviewing the recent registration history of the conference, and I found that the conference registration began on the 15th of December, 2019, which is about 5 weeks before the outbreak of the coronavirus in Wuhan, China. I would therefore be, well, I believe, too much to expect that papers directly addressing the problems of the current crisis to be presented in this conference. But correct me if I'm wrong. I would certainly be very happy to see some very relevant IT solutions to the problems we are facing today. Well, I've done a little bit of my own investigation into the possible areas of development. I asked myself in my own limited environment where I see some urgent need for applications in information science and technology. Well, to answer that, I need not go very far, really. And the answer, it seems, is not so very new either. Business schools around the world have been exploring into new methods of pedagogy to help businesses navigate what tomorrow's industry needs. And among the technologies that have been around for some time, but have never before become as relevant as it is today, is the online and experiential teaching. Clearly, the term online has become a byword in the last 3 months. But the concept is not simply that knowledge is imparted online, as it is closely delivered in conjunction with experience. Experiential tutorials via virtual reality training may become a formidable alternative to classroom teaching, thus making the transition from student to professional more seamless. One clear offshoot of this is the widespread rise of the massive open online courses. This is, of course, nothing new, but the onset of the COVID crisis has certainly given it a sudden rise in popularity. It does bring about many advantages, which will remain even after the world gets over the COVID crisis. For example, any aspiring student can learn from anywhere in the world he happens to be. Several studies in the United States have even dared to say that it may bring about a revolution in the education industry. Of course, the sad result that many existing educational institutions may be driven out of business. Well, needless to say, we in UA&P are watching this very closely. In Harvard, in other well-known universities in the United States, of Michigan, University of California, there has been successful experimental use of the flipped classroom. These are virtual classrooms where students watch their lectures at home via their computers and do all the assignments during a pre-arranged class time. Early studies have shown that learning outcomes have been enhanced as students are able to study at their own comfortable pace. There have also been developments in the area of adaptive learning. Traditional classroom learning is based on the assumption that everyone learns at the same pace, which everyone knows by experience to be false. Adaptive learning makes use of tools derived from data science and artificial intelligence to customize the learning experience of each student's capabilities. I also found a variation of the aforementioned, the above. It's called customized learning experience. While assessment in the traditional classroom is done by tests or essays or reports, students in the customized learning experience program are given the freedom to express their learning in non-traditional ways, like song or artwork, or even interpretative dance. With the wider availability of modern digital technology, educational institutions have been exploring various other learning outcomes for assessment. It's now gaining popular acceptance that the new learning methods may include interactive games, modeling tools, video production, etc. Well, I must admit, I did not really do an extensive search on this subject. I only wanted to know enough to see the general trends and directions, especially in the field of education, where, for the sake of survival, I must have a keen interest. I would expect to see a broader treatment of the theme, of course, in this conference. I would only like to state as a parting message, as I am wont to do in every conference, that this is a learning experience for all of us. Research must be viewed as a kind of, well, it's often viewed as a kind of competition by many other institutions, or let's see who's the most advanced. We'd rather see a conference as a meeting of minds to enrich ourselves, each one enriching the other, and being enriched ourselves in the process. I would therefore encourage everyone to see the common ground on which we all stand and the common problem we all face together. Let's use what we know and find IT solutions to solve them. Well, with these parting words, I wish you all a fruitful conference and a good morning to you all. Thank you.